Hello everybody and welcome back to another mini tournament. We have Steelsane versus CodiFly. Steelsane, thank you for your comment. I do appreciate it. Let's see what we have going on here today. Now I did also read that the main volume could be turned up quite a bit in MECHABELLUM. I'm just going to turn it up to where I feel like it's comfortable, and I can edit it in post. Isn't that just great? Anyways, Steelsane coming in with a supply specialist, tanks and marksman, just a great build. CodiFly coming in here as a giant specialist. He's got Fang, snipers, and Mustang. Interesting. Okay. The Fang are the unlock, the crawlers are the unlock on this side. I would have to say that these crawlers are going to do significantly more than the Fang, but we'll see. I like that Steelsane's holding on to his 50 bucks. Also, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope that you've had / are going to have just an amazing year. I'm sitting down after a wonderful vacation to beautiful Wyoming with my wonderful little wife. Hopefully a vlog of that will be coming out soon. I've got a nice pint of Guinness and a glass of tea, and we're just going to go to town. So these Fang aren't going to be able to hold up here for very long. Actually, the tanks aren't making great headway into them as of yet, just because of the positioning of those Fang. Really well done. The Mustang are actually very important here, as when they get a tank down below half HP, it just means that the snipers are able to deal with them considerably quicker, but really without any medium units of his own, Cody's going to be in a tough spot. And those sledgehammers have made a huge difference in the meta recently, as the increase in the HP of them just means that they can take so much more damage. They haven't really changed any other way besides just being able to take more damage. Yeah. Cody's almost certainly going to take the senior manufacturing specialist. I wouldn't be surprised if Steelsane didn't pick up the intelligent marksman, just because they're probably his best answer to any giants at this point. And actually having them rank up significantly faster does kind of put them on par with Phoenix. Another great option here for Cody is to grab some Phoenixes of his own instead of going with the marksman. Instead, it looks like Steelsane goes with the shield specialist and a couple of Stormcallers. I like this quite a bit. It's going to really reduce the amount of units that the Fang units very, very quickly. In fact, 2 Stormcallers, i.e. 2 entities of Stormcallers, can completely wipe a unit of Fang if they synchronize their missiles well and if they're not super drunk. 4 are generally enough to completely toast the unit without really any problem at all. We can see here they just completely annihilate the unit. These guys in the center are still going to hold strong for a minute, but I think these Stormcallers are a fantastic pick, just because they're going to be able to easily take care of these Mustang while they're holding position, and then also the Stormcallers outrange any Mustang. I think Cody's going to be pushed, or at least he's going to want to pick up a giant at this point. I don't know if it's a great option for him. Perhaps a couple of Overlords might be a good choice, but he's got to be feeling in a pretty rough spot here. Improved firepower instantly coming out for Cody. Steelsane picks up the orbital bombardment. Cody chooses to play 3 units. It's going to be crawlers. Any crawlers in the back? No. Maybe not yet. Lots of shielding coming out here from Steelsane. I think he's nervous about the orbital bombardment as well. Looks like these crawlers are going to be at the front. I would have liked it if the crawlers were coming in from the flanks here, even though they would get pretty much instantly annihilated by these Stormcallers. It would mean that there would need to be an answer to those crawlers every turn, and as long as Cody didn't play anything closer than the crawlers, the Stormcallers would always target them. As it is, Cody's going to be in an extremely tough spot, as he doesn't have an army left. That orbital bombardment completely wiped the left-hand side. It's looking a little better here on the right, but once those Stormcaller shots start landing, everybody's going to be dead. Oh man, there's nothing I'd rather be doing right now than watching a good game of MECHABELLUM. I literally hopped off a plane about an hour and 15 minutes ago, turned on the tournament, and I am ready to go. What a day to be alive. Cody's in a tough spot here. Cody was actually the Mini Asia Group 2 champion. Steelsane, Weekend European champ. Good for him. Steelsane. Senior attack specialist picked up very quickly here by Cody, and it looks like the Vulcan are going to start coming out. This is kind of what I was expecting to have happen. Smoke coming down here for Steelsane, really well played. I think he's just using these deployable, usable cards very quickly and very well. Also upgrading both tanks and all of the snipers, just because he knows that this is most likely the turn where a giant will come out. Cody has a good amount of cash. It makes sense. What do Vulcan struggle against? Tanks. Why? Because the tanks at level 2 have a significant HP pool. At 7,400, this guy takes roughly 74 seconds to kill one? A little bit less than that, probably closer to 60 seconds. That's a very long time to be burning on these tanks. Now the Vulcan does have a little bit of splash damage, so it can deal with the tanks a little bit better. It will be shooting maybe 2 or 3 of them at a time. This guy's going to do extremely well against the tanks, especially once the Vulcans get their Scorching Flames. Once the Vulcan have the Scorching Flame upgrade, they're basically like anti-everything ground. Nothing on the ground can survive the Vulcan at that point. Maybe a very high-level fortress. And this Vulcan is not built for giant killing with the burning enhancement. It's the upgrade that allows them to deal percentage damage. They do quite well against fortresses. Not the best, but quite well. I could see that also being a choice. Yeah, these Vulcan are screwed. GG, says Cody. I agree with you. Steelsane played this extremely well, not even losing a single round. I don't think Cody is dead here, but it is very close. Very, very close. Oh, last round of the game. I have a feeling that, oh, Cody goes with melting points. They're going to be exceedingly inexpensive at this point, but doesn't play any. Okay. That actually could have worked. I like the idea of mass melting point, just because they'd cost what? 250 bucks? That's not very expensive at all. Play out 2 of them, give them the upgrade where they can multi-target, if that's available, and then all of a sudden these tanks would be in a world of hurt. But I think Steelsane's just dominated this game from the onset. He has a very good setback. I think Cody needed to go a little bit aggressive very quickly and make some different unit transitions. I think going into Phoenix or some other type of flag units may have been a little bit useful, just as there's very little anti-air here on the side of Steelsane. Oh, here's Steelsane's answer. Just a big old middle finger in the back line. It's honestly a great play at the very end, just to try and close things out. This entire left-hand flank was distracted, but this Overlord's going to be more than enough to close things down. Tanks in the background did nothing. There goes the tower, and this Overlord's probably just going to go giant hunting at this point. I think there's 2 snipers left. Nothing that could take care of this Overlord. GG should be called here again, and that will be that. Really interesting way to play the first game. Just very far back, almost gentlemanly in its play. We'll have to watch Steelsane throughout the tournament. It's quite likely that he'll go the distance once again. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe, and send your replays to the Bree and Joe Show. We have WeiTei versus Dionis in round 2 of the mini tournament. Man, that was a quick game last turn, or last round. Didn't really have much time to discuss the strategy that was going on, but hopefully we can take things a little bit slower this time. Dionis, Mini Americans Advanced Group #1 champion, coming in here with a Rhino Specialist. I'm warming up a lot more to the Rhino Specialist. I think it's quite good. WeiTei, his opponent, Mini European Advanced Group runner-up. Okay. Well, perhaps we have a little bit of an aggro session going on here. Might be influencing Wei's very aggressive headbutt at the front. Interesting choice with the Supply Specialist to instantly unlock some Mustang just to support this. I do like it quite a bit, and he needs something to shoot down the Phoenix, so it makes sense. Dionis has some Crawlers, some Arc Lights, and these Phoenix. These Phoenix are going to be absolutely critical. I wonder if Wei is setting up a little bit too aggressively here. Knowing that there's already Arc Lights on the field can often stymie a headbutt quite a bit, just because an Arc Light has no... What is this positioning? Oh my. Very strange positioning here. It's going to work in drawing this army off to the left here for WeiTei, but very interesting. All these units are hitting at kind of different times. The Mustang just finally make contact But now there's a whole nother unit of crawlers joining the field. I guess this will still work as the steel balls make it to the tower. Once the tower drops, this is a done deal, as there's enough steel balls on the field here just to absorb these Phoenix shots as long as the Mustang are able to take down the crawlers. And it looks like it should be just fine. Really interesting positioning there. I wonder what the idea behind that was. It worked, but I've never seen that kind of odd spacing. I am a huge proponent of spacing things out very slightly, i.e. have one unit that's like one square in front of the other unit, just so that things like Stormcallers have a little bit harder time tracking them, and your opponent has a little bit harder time dealing with when those units actually hit. But I'm also a huge proponent of making sure that all of your units are there to support each other. Wei picks up the haste module. I think that's the pick here, unless... No. If the steel balls had an upgrade, this might be worth it, but Dionis could most likely pick up that airdrop, actually. The shield airdrop is quite powerful. Won't hold up against the steel balls very well. Wei has already played out his unit of Mustang. He's still holding on to $150. Is he going to play anything in the back line? No. There's a bit of a gap here where a unit of crawlers could go. Instead, Wei unlocks an arc light. An arc light in the background actually would be very frustrating to deal with. If one was placed here, and the next turn a unit of crawlers is here, and then the turn after that a rhino or something, that can quickly develop into just madness. Looks like it's going to be Mustang for Dionis. I actually like this quite a bit, as these crawlers are unsupported. Unless these Mustang, one of them had a haste module, it's not going to work here. Interesting choice too. Wei held on to that haste module. Well, all of the chaff crawlers are going to die, which is going to be just the worst thing possible here for these steel balls, as they do not hold up against crawlers very well at all. These guys on the left are well, not completely unsupported, but almost completely unsupported, and because of that, they're going to not really participate in the fight too much. Here comes the rest of these Mustang, but they really don't have much to fight here. And that arc light was never played out. Background crawlers are going to make it to the tower, but they're not going to make it in time to really make a difference. Because of this, they might be able to get this arc light. I don't think so, though. Oh, they just... Nope. I was going to say they just might. Interesting choice here by Wei. I do like the positioning on those crawlers, though, because all of these units ran off to the left. Those crawlers were easily able to get in here and deal the damage that they needed to do. Underground threat for Wei. Wei is our red player, by the way. Dionis is blue. Oh, and he's going to go with a Vulcan. Vulcan right at the front would do... Yeah, it will do an amazing job. It's going to be a Scorpion here for Dionis. I like that. Ah, and there's the attack module. I was going to say, the Vulcan's pretty darn slow, but giving it the haste module does help a little bit. Speed is up to 11. These guys are 16. So having your Vulcan moving at the speed of... not quite a fast unit, but it is ranged, does help quite a bit. It just means they'll be able to make contact a little bit earlier. And here's the arc light. Where's that going to go? I'd love to see that on the flank. It is on the flank. Oh, well done here by Wei. Dionis is doing a great job in building himself a safe box, and I think the Scorpion's a great choice as well. It's going to have a little bit of trouble if he does give it the siege mode, because it will almost certainly fire at these crawlers first, but even if it does, the Vulcan's almost certainly going to march forward into that Scorpion shot, so not that big of a deal. Steel balls are rank 2, that will help quite a bit as these Phoenix haven't leveled up. And it's going to be extra crawlers on Wei's flank, or Dionis' flank. Interesting. Yeah, those crawlers are going to be huge. Both players playing crawlers in their own fields, though. Out comes the arc light. It's going to be able to completely munch, almost fully munch a unit of crawlers there. Not too bad. It's just mass death here. Oh my god, that Scorpion just had huge value. Will it be able to fire before the tower drops? Unfortunately not for Dionis. And now that Scorpion is going to find itself in a really tough spot as this level 2 steel ball is able to kill it off. That's not something you see every day. Normally, Scorpions have no problem wiping out steel balls. You'd think that steel balls could do quite well against Scorpions. They don't. Because they have such short range, they often kind of crush in a little bit on the flanks. The 2 steel balls here on the left and right come in, and that causes them to all get hit. Wouldn't be surprised if both players don't pick up the top supply specialist here. It's early in the game. Dionis... Whoa, Wei does not. Dionis is kind of going out on a limb here. He's hoping for it. Yeah, there's that Rhino. And it looks like we have Wraiths coming out here for Wei. Yeah, the anti-air is okay, though. Now, we see this a lot, where this Wraith next to the inbound crawlers. Wraiths move incredibly slowly, though. At speed 10, I shouldn't say incredibly slowly. Wraiths move fairly slow compared to fast units. I'd be interested in seeing really what the purpose of this guy is. They do have a good amount of HP. Don't deal a ton of damage, but a good amount of HP. Wei also bumps up the fortification levels on this command center. Very good choice, as Dionis could easily have gone for the Stormcaller cheese just to win a round. I think that may have been worthwhile. Level 2 Rhino power spike here on the left. That Rhino's almost certainly dead though. Yeah, the steel balls make contact with it very quickly and down it goes. There isn't really a lot to stop the crawlers though. This Wraith's going to do a great job, but it's already being targeted down by the Phoenix. Here comes the Vulcan. Once again, these crawlers are going to make it in. They only have to eat up another 2 or 3 crawlers. The longer this battle goes on, the more likely it is for these crawlers to make a difference. Oh, it's going to be close. Those crawlers are making contact now. Is there enough to kill the Wraith? I don't think so. Yeah, this Wraith's going to live. Well done. Good play on the Wraith and great positioning of these crawlers. They've made a difference 2 rounds now. If these crawlers had replicate, that would be really, really tough to deal with. Now Dionis is going to start taking a small economic lead, though. Both players picking up the parasitic ammo. Parasitic ammo coming out on the Wraith. 1 Wraith getting an upgrade. Vulcan here for Dionis. Yes, I love this. Gets rid of that arc light, replaces it with its bigger brother, the Vulcan, and gives that Vulcan parasitic ammo. This guy is going to be hot to trot. He could even give the Vulcan range. I wouldn't recommend it. I would say maybe play out a 3rd unit. Just something to hold these units in place for a second. But this is going to cause just this entire area to slow down for an extra second. Wei's got a moment to think about what to do next. It looks like he's going to recycle, or he unlocks the ability to recycle. Recycled those level 2 steel balls. Interesting. Those guys were doing a great job. They killed the Rhino beforehand. I wonder if he's going to go into another Wraith. He unlocks the Wraith range. Useful. Is that missile? I don't know whose missile that is. Hold on. Whoa, sorry about that. That missile belongs to... What is going on there? Missile belongs to Dionis. One that's right on the edge there. It's real hard to see, but I imagine that's Dionis's. Missile on the right for Dionis. I don't know how this Rhino's going to be dealt with now without those steel balls. Huge amount of fire coming down here. That's mostly due to the incendiary bomb by this Vulcan. Now that's an interesting choice, as most of these ground units here for WeiTei don't have range, which means they'll almost certainly die in the fire. Oh, that Scorpion just does a great job at killing off everything. Here comes the missile. Yeah, the missile on the right took care of the earlier crawlers, but this Wraith has no chance, and Dionis deals a ton of damage back to Wei. I'm not in love with the idea of sacrificing the steel balls. They were a lot of HP that were on the field. I'm not sure what the point of that was. Elite hackers here for Wei. Ooh, okay. This I like. Oh my god. What? This could work, honestly. It's madness, but it can work. If he's able to play out another 2 or 3 of these and then give them all the shield upgrade, at level 3 that's 60,000 extra shields. That's a surprising amount of shields. That's a lot of HP for your units. And then if the hackers grab this multiple control and start turning all these crawlers against each other, doesn't make a huge amount of difference while the Vulcan still stands, but if there's an easier way of dealing with that Vulcan, then things are going to get pretty crazy. Range increase on the Mustang, I think that's incredibly important, as before those Mustang were running to their deaths. Dionis still has a ton of cash. I'd like to see him capitalize on this flank a little bit more. And I think he's going to... Oh no, these units are still being drawn away. At least... Oh, there we go. I was going to say, at least they're not in a terrible spot. But yeah, with them charging forward here, he should have no problem getting that tower. Range increase on the Phoenix as well. I'd like to see another Rhino come down, if possible. That Rhino provides so much HP, and it can be just the head point, or the figurehead of this aggression. it would draw away a lot of units, but we'll see. Instead, it's going to be the range increase. Still sitting on 150. And the armor. Okay. Hey, defense enhancement, that extra 15% HP does make a big difference. Looks like well, yeah, honestly, this Vulcan actually did quite a good job with the incendiary bomb. Blam! One level 2 Rhino joins the fight and is instantly annihilated. Mostly thanks to this very angry Scorpion. The difference in... Yeah, I was going to say the difference in this battle is really the right flank is going to be lost here very, very quickly. I don't think these Wraiths are really pulling their weight. They're dealing a good amount of damage, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're pulling their weight for the cost. They're just quickly overwhelmed, and WeiTei is... Ooh, he's very much in the danger zone. For quite a while there, it looks like Wei was in a great spot. I honestly think he'd benefit a lot from having a lot of Stormcallers. Senior attack specialist by Dionis. Wei's forced to pick up the barrier. Grabs another Vulcan. Yeah, right at the front. Can do quite well for itself, but Vulcans... It will kill basically everything here. It will die to the Phoenix eventually, but I don't think that the Vulcan will be quick enough in killing this tower. Another Wraith comes down as well. Dionysus, I think, figured that Wraiths might be the choice and grabbed the aerial specialization on his Mustang. This just makes the Mustang vicious at killing aerial units. I mean, it's not going to make these Mustang are just going to rip through the Wraiths at this point. Previously, if the Wraiths did grab that field maintenance, I think it would have made a little bit more of a difference. As there's only 1 or 2 units of Phoenix on the field, the Wraiths would have been able to heal through all of the damage that the Mustang were putting out. Now, not so much. We have the floating artillery battery, just giving the Wraiths a lot more cannons. Oh my. And another Fang is dropped. There's just like no meat on the field here for Wei. He's got so few units. The whatever it is, the Rhino is recycled. I would have actually liked it if WeiTei had recycled that Hacker, if he wasn't going to go into them more. I saw he unlocked the Fang. I thought we were going to see a Fang Hacker transition, but no, that's not the case. Both players playing the crawlers in their own backline, just to be safe. This is not going to be the place that those crawlers want to spawn in. Just immediately annihilated. Wow, that is a lot of shots coming out of these guys, though. One Wraith immediately drops. I wouldn't be surprised if the next Wraith dies just as quickly. It's looking pretty decent here on the right, though. This Wraith is going to be able to give quite a bit of fire support, at least for a moment. Oh, and there it goes. There's a few crawlers left on the field, but more importantly, there's nothing that shoots up. And these level 3 Mustang with the haste module are going to make quick work out of basically everything. There's a lot of crawlers left on the ground here. I wouldn't be surprised if these Mustang did eventually get cleaned up, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Wei's in a pretty tough spot, and he already showed... Oh, Wei's dead. Wow! Wei hit exactly 0. Well, if you've got more games like this, be sure to go to the Bree and Joe Show's Gmail address in the channel below and send me over your games. Round 3 in our semifinals, we have Steelsane versus Tasty Bait. I would be very interested in watching more Steelsane games. If you want to get better at Mechabellum, I'd highly recommend checking out more of these tournaments, as they do show off a lot of the best players in the world as they continue to dominate these tournaments. Tasty Bait coming in here with a very good opening hand, a little bit low on the HP. It's a spy specialist with marksman and sledgehammer. I like that quite a bit. Steelsane looked like he picked up the giant specialist. Oh, and quite the chaff-killing army here, with very high damage output in the Stormcallers and good chaff killing with the arc lights. I actually like Steelsane's build here quite a bit, because normally what we see most players do is grab the giant specialist just to unlock the Vulcan, and we'll only ever really see Vulcan played by having such great chaff killing capabilities. He doesn't really need to go into a Vulcan. This allows him to pick things like a fortress, or heck, even unlocking a war factory. That can be incredibly powerful later in the game as just a great swing turn. I love to see the big finisher of a Vulcan getting absolutely trashed by a sudden war factory showing up on like round 8. All of a sudden having 2 war factories right in the front or in the very back maybe recycling a level 2 or level 3 unit to allow them to spawn out Phoenix or some other thing. It can really catch players off guard. Also, if you haven't already, Tasty Bait has just the best avatar, and I feel like these two must go head to head quite a bit. Tasty Bait was the weekend European Advanced 1, placed number 8. He's now in the semifinals, so congratulations, Tasty Bait. We'll have to see how this stacks up. I think these Stormcallers are in a pretty good spot, though. They should be able to annihilate a few of these crawlers, but the crawlers aren't really the main issue. It's that once these crawlers are all dealt with, the Stormcallers should go after the tanks. And they're really the only thing that can deal damage to the tanks, so it's important that they do so. Some crawlers make it over on the left. Yeah, they are going after the tanks. Ooh, but perhaps not quick enough. One more barrage might do it. Yeah, they're drunk. Poor Stormcallers. See if they can take them out. Probably. Having the support of more arc lights on this left-hand side, I have to give it to Steelsane's army here on the left. It just seems like it's a little bit better spaced out, and the units have a lot more range in the form of these Stormcallers. Not a huge loss, though, for Tasty. What is that, 150, 200, 350 HP? No. Yeah, 350 HP. Not bad at all. Oh man, I'm a big sucker for the redeployment. I know it's not chosen very much, but I just love being able to move one of my pieces every single turn for free. Oh wow, interesting. Yeah, I think Steelsane is not going to go for a Vulcan. The extended Vulcan range is one of the best cards, just because, well, specifically obviously for the Vulcan, but anything that extends your unit's range, I always value very, very highly. Because Mechabellum, generally units have such low HP pools that they can't survive a couple of hits, extending your range really is the best way to ensure your survival. If your Vulcan is able to kill everything before it gets a shot off, then it can have 1 HP. Who cares? Of course, it does make the Vulcan more vulnerable to flanking and to long-range artillery. However, if Steelsane had gone into a lot of chaff all of a sudden, like he picked up 3 units of crawlers this turn, then having that extended range would be phenomenal. I do like the pickup here of the Phoenix. I think the Phoenix are a great answer to the tanks. They're a great answer for the mostly, or they're a great answer because most of this army can't shoot up. Oh wow, that arc light took significant damage. Both arc lights took significant damage from the Stormcallers. There isn't quite enough chaff clear on the right side here of Steelsane, and Tasty's going to see quite the breakthrough. The question is he going to have enough? I think he might, you know. There are going to be 2 Phoenix on the field, but that's a lot for those Phoenix and Stormcallers to chew through, especially as they're going to hit right when that tower drops. Well played here by Tasty Bait. I think overwhelming the opponent with those Stormcallers, or with those Crawlers, really made a difference, because it just... Stormcallers don't do well against fast-moving units. I mean, obviously, long-range rocket artillery, not great at shooting down tiny, little, speedy crabs. Laser sight here picked up by Tasty Bait very quickly, and Steelsane. Mustang coming out here for Tasty Bait. Yeah. Oh, but we're going to see the first giant in the form of 1 Overlord, or was this just unlocked for next turn? Nope, there is going to be 1 Overlord. So, this is... Oh, no, this Overlord's dead. This is the issue that I find with going Phoenixes a little too early. Not saying that Steelsane played this badly, but right now in the game, Mustang are kind of the best anti-air unit in the game. So being able to play out 2 or 3 of them just negates so much damage that can be coming out. So I'm always hesitant about when I start playing my aerial units. Oh wow, interesting. Tasty Bait also used his rapid resupply just to give his Mustang range. He really didn't need to do that at this point, but it is a great thing to have. I guess he's going to spec heavily into these Mustang. And he's made the right choice here. I don't think this Overlord will be able to survive. He's winning the front as well. The Overlord might just have enough to kill these Mustang off, but it's certainly not going to be enough to clean up the rest of the Mustang. I think that Steelsane's going a little bit too heavily. Oh, you know what? He might do it. I was going to say, I think he's going a little bit too heavily into the air units a little bit too quickly, but there's what? 5 Mustang to deal with a very wounded Overlord and a couple of Phoenix. Yeah, I think this is going to be quite a bit of damage coming out onto old Tasty Bait. Even with that being gamer sense sniffed out, those Mustang were not able to hold the flank. Barrier here for Steelsane. Barrier for Tasty Bait. Okay. Vulcan. Oh my god, and it has the shield. This is so frustrating to deal with. And then, yep, there's the unit of crawlers. Oh, I called it. I love this build. I love playing aggressive flanks now, and this is just so dirty. You have a lot of HP now because you've got two giants here with an extra $60,000 shield. You've got a huge flank coming in. All of a sudden, Tasty's got to either decide, do I upgrade this tower and just kind of leave this to die? Or do I go very heavily into the frontal assault? Because he's currently winning the frontal assault. Does he just double down and say, yeah, most of my army is going to go this way, we'll win, and then we'll deal with this other half of the army later? You have to decide. It's going to be a melting point, and this is why the Vulcan with shield is so annoying, because it's almost certainly going to be able to take care of all of these units. The melting point's going to get distracted, killing off all of these little crawlers and things. Oh, it can be very frustrating. And this is the power of the Giant Specialist, is that you can make these insane plays very quickly. Now, I do think that the Mustang will be enough to take out the... Oh, I was going to say, with that positioning, the Mustang were in a better spot. Oh, okay. Unit of crawlers here as well. That will help quite a bit. The Vulcan will have to swivel at what to shoot at. These crawlers will go in here, absolutely decimate the enemy crawlers. And now the melting point's going to be online. Really well played there. That unit of crawlers made a big difference. Just being able to get in there and deal the damage necessary. Well played, well played. There isn't really enough here at the front, though. Oh, I was going to see if that shield could get over the tower. Not quite. That's going to cost quite a few of these units their lives. I think that this flank will still hold, though. These Mustang are going to do incredibly well. Just hiding behind Mama. Protect Mama. Man, these guys have such a long range. And it looks like this flank's also going to be pushed in. This looks like a win here for Tasty Bait. Perhaps not such as large as a win as he would have liked, but he should be able to kill these Stormcallers. Should being the provocative term. These Stormcallers might just make it. They're level 2, so they'll be able to deal with those tanks quite well. And the tanks aren't good. They're going to shoot within range of the Stormcallers. Yeah. Oh, Tasty actually loses. That's got to feel bad. He's pulled off two incredible counters, both with the Mustangs earlier, and then now with the melting point. And unfortunately, both times for him, unfortunately I should say, he's lost. Shield drop, I wouldn't be surprised if this shield airdrop lands over here, or perhaps in the front, just to give him a little bit more time. Both players going with the shield drop. Oh, tanks are recycled. Yeah, they weren't serving too much of a purpose. It's going to be more Mustang. Oh, and another Overlord at the front. These Mustang might be able to do the business, though. Maybe not. Now that they have high explosive ammo, they're not going to deal nearly as much damage to the Overlords. Oh no. This is looking great here for Steelsane. No flank, though. I like these Stormcallers right at the front. They should be able to knock out that tower almost immediately. Very well played here. And you know the issue is that if Tasty Bait does sniff this out, somehow if he uses his 2000 IQ and places a unit of crawlers right here, not only will the crawlers instantly get decimated by the Overlords, they will also not stop that tower from dropping, as the Stormcallers won't shoot at things within this red range. Oh, this is really well played here by Steelsane. Ooh, swing and a miss there. Almost took off the tower. This right side's going to go the way of Tasty Bait, almost certainly. I'll have to see if this Overlord's enough. I don't think the melting point. I don't think the melting point's going to be enough, as these Overlords should take the tower almost immediately, and they do. Still, the melting point's not in a bad position. It might start working on one of these Overlords before all the Mustangs drop. Yeah, it will. It should be able to get one of the Overlords. Is there enough Mustang here? Nope. Almost certainly not. This arc light did Jesus' work, just surviving for that little extra second. Yeah, the extra Stormcallers in the back here should be enough. Should being the provocative term again. It looks like we got a good push through though. Stormcallers are just so good, man. I remember when before Stormcallers even had their nerf, but they will die here. Good job, little crawlers. You made it happen. And Tasty takes a small win, very small win, against the reigning champion, Steelsane. I feel like Steelsane's got this one in the bag, though. He's currently been the one pressuring the entire game, and Tasty's just been reactive. I'm not sure how much more reactive Tasty can be. Tasty needs to start seizing the initiative. Even just placing a unit of Mustang here and start building out his own flank can make a huge difference. Regeneration on the melting point and range. I like this quite a bit. That range is going to be incredibly useful. The Overlord artillery on these Overlords is going to be real hard to match. And Steelsane's kind of going for a reduced version of a very common headbutt that we see right now, which is Stormcallers, Crawlers, and Tanks, followed up by Mass Overlord with the Overlord artillery and Photon emission. Just all focused on one side. It's super hard to break. Incredibly difficult to break. But this might be breakable, just given the way that Tasty's playing this out. Good positioning on these units as well. Should help a little bit. Man, if somebody's crawlers got replicate, that would make this just a very dirty fight. Tasty does upgrade his melting point. We have not seen him play another melting point over this way. Oh, he's even going to have this guy boogie. I like that quite a bit. So right now, most of these Stormcallers will fire at these, they'll miss, but some of them might aggro onto the melting point. Oh, wow. It wasn't Tasty that was making boogie, excuse me, it was these Overlords that are boogieing. Not as in love with that, as it did lead them into a melting point. Of course, there was no way of Steelsane knowing that there was a melting point there, but obviously not great. This melting point should still be able to take out the Overlords with very little issue, just because that loss of the tower doesn't hurt it nearly as much. There's a lot of units still left here on the right. The shield, unfortunately, will drop here for Tasty Bait. I'm sure he doesn't want that to happen, but it's going to happen because of the well-placed movement pattern of these Overlords. But it looks like Mama Melting Point's on the hunt. Down goes the Overlord, and down should go the last of those towers. Big hit here coming out onto Steelsane. Yeah, I think that Tasty is playing this really well. And initially, or at least last round, I said that Steelsane was the one kind of putting the tempo into the game. I feel like that's slipping more into Tasty Bait's hands now. Ooh, and the missile strike could work really well here for Tasty Bait. Really, I would have played it in the back and tried to catch these units. Although all of the force is kind of focused in this one spot. Oh, you know what? Also, Tasty, hear me through the internet. One war factory with missile interception completely shuts this entire army down, as the Overlords fire missiles besides their Overlord artillery. All of their attack, their auto attack, is considered a missile attack. The war factory would just kill that. Good play here by Tasty as well, just putting a melting point over on this flank, just to be able to shut down anything that would come over on this flank. Very good idea. Looks like Steelsane's abandoning this flank, moving that Vulcan over. Not a bad choice, and more Overlords. Alright, a melting point. You gotta kill 3 giants. Good luck. It might be able to if there's enough coverage. This is where I'd like to see the Crawlers get the replicate ability, just because there isn't really that much wave clear on the field. Besides this very forward-facing Vulcan, all of a sudden there could be a huge amount of units just flowing down. Also, if you didn't notice, the research center here for Tasty Bait is level 2 now as well. Down goes the Vulcan almost instantly, and now these melting points are going to have to deal with all of these units. I think that should be that. And honestly, these Mustang with the explosive shot, I wasn't too into it initially, just because I normally use my Mustang as anti-air instead of chaff clear. This has really worked out. This has really, really worked out. Wow, Tasty Bait doing exceedingly well here. This is going to be a huge hit on Steelsane. Several thousand damage. Oof. Like 1,500. I get a little carried away. Orbital bombardment would be good here for Tasty. I could see the incendiary bomb or the amp core for Steelsane. No, Steelsane takes the orbital as well. It's not a poor choice. I mean, a lot of these units are unshielded, but there are still quite a bit of shields on the, just around here for Tasty Bait. Tasty Bait played out some... Oh, yeah. Big Wasp flank just to try and close out the game. Tasty needs to decide what to do with this other $800. Honestly, a lot of missile interceptors, although it would be silly, isn't the worst thing in the world. Or giving these crawlers replicate, as there really isn't much to stop that. There's one Vulcan, which, as we saw last turn, died very, very quickly. That could work quite well. But it does not look like that's what we're going to see. Instead, these Wasps are just going to fly through. I do like it when the Wasps have some type of specialization picked up immediately, just so that way they can kill any of those units very fast. But yeah, this looks pretty good here for Tasty. I wouldn't be surprised, though, now that the shield is coming down, if Steelsane's units are able to push through a little bit too quickly and take this tower. A lot of the units here are protected, and this extra melting point is going to make a world of difference. Oh, it's real close. This is going to be a super close game. Oil coming down here for Steelsane. He's just going to try and burn this all off. Are there units that are going to run into it? Yes, there are. Shield drops, though, and it looks like most of those crawlers are outside of the fire. Of course, they'll have to run in. There isn't a great amount of anti-air here. A lot of these units are getting caught up. Where are the Wasps? They're coming in. Who loses the tower first? It's going to be Tasty Bait's tower. The question is, are the melting points going to be enough? I don't think they're going to be enough. There's too many. These Wasps are too slow. Oh my god, the Wasps are so slow. That's ridiculous. Tasty might be dead. Tasty might be super dead here. Oh my. What is this? 400, 800, 1200, 1600, 2000. Yeah, Tasty's dead. GG. Wow, that's why the flanking Wasps, these guys are kind of slow. Speed 16, it just felt like they were moving very, very slowly there. There's no way. I think that this was very well played here, having these Wasps spawn out with shields. It just delayed the melting points so much. And then not having that aerial specialization on the Mustang. Well played here by Steelsane. He's got it. He's got the kill. We've got one more round in the tournament. And for all of the marbles, we are here in the last round of the tournament. We have Katano, yeah, versus Steelsane. Katano coming in here with the cost control specialist, Crawler, and Stormcallers. He's going to have a great opening hand and a lot of health. Probably the best specialist in the game still, the cost control specialist. What the heck is that? Alright, we'll need to blur that. Steelsane, though, looking quite interesting here with the steel balls and crawlers. What a weird thing to have as your avatar. No one will ever know what that avatar is, but if you happen to play Katano online, my god, what a weird avatar. Steelsane, let's see if he can do that same aggression that we saw previously. It wasn't Steelsane who played it, but it was a very interesting play where we had those crawlers not really supported, and then a bunch of other units kind of shimmyed in around them. Right now, Steelsane does actually have quite a good army to counter the Stormcallers, if positioned well. Neither player's picked up... Okay, Katano's actually just going to go with some more infantry, or some more chaff, in this case, a Fang. I wonder if Steelsane is going to pick another fast-moving unit. Honestly, just a unit of Mustang here would do quite well for him, but it would be his only form of wave clear. So I don't think that's the best choice. Opting for Phoenix. Those Phoenix are probably going to get gunned down by little dudes with pistols. Those poor, poor Phoenix. They'll do their best, don't get me wrong, but they're going to die. I think that there is just enough Fang here. Normally 2 units of Fang is more than enough to deal with 1 unit of Phoenix. In fact, normally like 10 Fang can take out 2 Phoenix, but there just isn't any wave clear. I'm honestly very surprised that Steelsane didn't pick up either more chaff or wave clear. That's generally the first thing you want to pick up here, as without any wave clear, Oh my god, one steel ball instantly bursts. There's not really much that these crawlers can do. They're just not supported. And yeah, that should be that. That should be that. Well, at least the Fang are going to have some shooting practice. They should be able to get through this. Yeah, with only one steel ball left, it only takes a little bit of Stormcaller support, and there's more than enough units over here on the left. Interesting choice by Steelsane. I wonder if this will force Katano to pick up a couple units of Mustang. He should have the money for it. 2 units of Mustang this early in the game is going to be pretty good. It's not often you see a cost control specialist win round 1 either, just because their units are so significantly weaker. Katano picks up mass-produced Phoenix. Steelsane going with the crawlers, and it looks like a couple of Stormcallers of his own. Okay, answering fire with fire. I like that. Interesting choice of the Phoenix, though. Going to play out 3 units of them? Katano still has a ton of cash. No, it's going to be a third unit of Stormcallers for Katano. Okay. I like this. Everybody just going into heavy artillery. Steelsane's crawlers are going to do a very good job at just putting these crawlers in the dirt. Oh, unless Steelsane chooses to play it in his own backline. Crawler on crawler warfare then in the back center. Should delay a lot of these units, but these Stormcallers here will be able to turn around and just blast those crawlers. We'll see if it's enough though, as this entire flank and center has collapsed on this one unit of one deployable unit, I should say. Wow, it's actually delaying this attack by a lot. And the Stormcallers are so well positioned to take out the Fang that the anti-air now relies on these 2 units of Phoenix. Granted, 2 units of Phoenix are always better than 1 unit of Phoenix, but the tower should drop here. Yes, sir. That should be that. I think these Phoenix are going to be just fine, as there are some background crawlers just to kind of keep everything moving forward. Well done by Steelsane. Steelsane always impresses me with his Steelsane. Just want to make sure it's not Steelsane, but Steelsane always impresses me with his kind of out of the box unit choices. It's going to be a Vulcan here for Katano. There's already 1 unit of Phoenix on the field. Also, something worth noting is Steelsane picks up a lot of these deployables. He picks them up fairly early in the game too. General advice is generally don't pick up deployables until maybe round 4 or 5, but we keep seeing high-level players like Steelsane pick up these deployables very, very quickly, and I do like it because the smoke bomb lasts for 2 rounds. It just severely neuters a lot of these units. Dance of the Crawlers is going to pull these Stormcallers into the smoke as well. This is going to be difficult for Katano to deal with. Oh, I also really like this one. I do this myself a lot, where I make sure that not all of my crawlers are running forward. I send out just a few of them to keep pushing into the enemy, and by doing so, it causes the enemy to have to stop, shoot those guys, and then they'll go chase my crawlers that are already in the back line. It actually helps just a significant amount. Big ball of crawlers here. Ooh, gets absolutely decimated by Stormcaller shots, and the Mustang should be able to take care of those. Steelsane's Mustangs pushing down on the left-hand side are actually getting eliminated here. I don't think there's any anti-air left here for Steelsane. No, it doesn't look like it. And that should be that. Even with the smoke, Katano's able to edge out just a small victory. Man, that economic lead of Katano is just going to continue to grow. It's only $50 a round, but at this point, Katano's gotten an extra $200. Oh, and the intensive trading is such a good play here with the cost control specialist, just because you do have that little bit of extra cash on hand. Makes a big difference. Steelsane might be able to eke out using the nuke twice, but I don't think that's the choice here. It's going to be heavy armor. Ooh, on a Vulcan of his own for Steelsane. Okay. Just means that there's going to be a little bit more of a war here at the front. Interesting that Steelsane unlocked and played only 1 unit of Phoenix. That seems quite expensive. We were going for a Stormcaller cheese here by Steelsane. That's not going to work, and I think these Stormcallers are doomed to an early grave. Good positioning of this Vulcan is just going to make sure that that tower survives. Oh, I like the cheese, but it doesn't always work. Yeah, I got to be careful with that positioning as well there, Steelsane. Yeah, Not grabbing all the crawlers again. Leaving just a few of them. In fact, the Stormcaller barrage is actually going to be fairly useful, as it might be able to not eliminate the Vulcan, but neuter it to the point at which these other Stormcallers are able to kill it. In the center, it looks like the level 1 Vulcan's doing a little bit more work than the level 2 guy, just because all of those units had to run in, and the level 2 might actually drop here very quickly. If that is done so, looks like all the Fang are dead. Will these Phoenix get distracted? I think the answer is yes. The distraction Phoenix are the worst kind of Phoenix, because they never kill what they need to shoot. Oh, and that, yeah, that's going to be that. These Phoenix aren't going to be able to kill their brethren. Or maybe they will, and maybe they'll kill the tower, and then maybe they'll come over here and kill the other Phoenix. What is happening today? That is insane. Somehow Steelsane's units survive a tower drop, kill off one unit of Phoenix kills off 2 units. That's insane. Charged ammo coming out here for Katano. I could see an argument for the mass-produced Scorpion. Or even a mobilized battleship. I do think the mobilized battleship's one of the worst cards in the game, though. Instead, it's going to be a melting point with range and the charged ammo. Okay. Very interesting choice. That's just to deal with this one Vulcan, even though there's already Phoenix on the field. So another great tip I have for most players is that if you have a unit composition that's already a counter, quote unquote, to the enemy's units, either you're positioning slightly off or you just need more of them. Like Phoenix hard counter Vulcan. And there's already quite a few Phoenix on the field, it's just that they need some levels or they need some tech. So this melting point is kind of just an added expense. What was that? Is Katano a giant? No. Katano spent 200 unlocking the melting point, then had to grab the charged ammo and the range and pay for the giant. Like his whole turn's gone into just playing out this one melting point. It's a little excessive. Ooh, I do like the double dance of crawlers. It's quite a bit of fun. Oh my god, that tower drops. The positioning here of these Stormcallers, fantastic by Steelsane. That is just lovely. Mwah. Chef's kiss positioning there. The Vulcan even is able to get a little bit of damage in just because of that tower drop. Well done, little Stormcaller friends. I'm going to have to pull that off at some point. That was incredible. Unfortunately, though, here for Steelsane, great play, but there isn't enough anti-air. The Phoenix made short work of the one unit of enemy Phoenix, and this should be that. Oh, this poor melting point. Blammo. Okay, not a huge loss. Now Katano knows about that really annoying crawler or Stormcaller positioning. He should be able to counter it. Man, I love that. Great positioning. Giant Hunter here for Katano. Will Steelsane pick it up as well, or will he go with the Orbital Javelin? The Javelin here, it won't... Oh, it would kill both these units. Ooh, that's devilish. That's devilish indeed. That's going to work extremely well. And Steelsane again plays the crawlers in the backline just to draw this huge force over to the central area. Also, forgive me if I'm misspeaking a lot. Like I said, I've been up for about 24 hours, hopped off a plane, and then got ready to cast some Mechabellum. So it's been a weird day. Actually, will this Vulcan be in range? No, it won't, but these Stormcallers will. I was going to say it could be cheeky just to give the crawlers replicate. They land on top of these guys, spawn out a whole bunch of more crawlers, and just draw on this fight a little bit more. But these Stormcallers are easily within range to shut that down. Dance with the crawlers once again. We did see those cheeky Stormcallers get removed. They did their best, and it's just going to be a few more Mustang here for Steelsane. Okay. Not a bad play. Neither player playing on the flanks at all. Granted, both flanks are fairly well protected for both players, but even just pulling away these Stormcallers for a second could make a big difference. I like this one missile interceptor as well, just because these level 3 Stormcallers do so much damage. Bam! Both giants are instantly killed. Oh wow. Honestly, maybe giving the crawlers replicate would have been good here. They would have been able to just cause a huge swarm of crawlers. But yeah, that missile interceptor is shutting down so much damage. For $100 to shut that down is very, very useful. Unfortunately, it's going to die. So it was $100 that was not used well, it was used, but it just didn't make it through the round. It's nice when those deployables live a couple of rounds. It makes it worth it. Big swing turn. It looks like Steelsane isn't going to be able to put Katano in the bag, but he's going to put him into the danger zone, meaning that Katano can't lose another round. At around 1500 HP, you need to be careful. It's very unlikely for you to survive. I wouldn't be surprised if both players didn't pick up the barrier here. Yeah, just having that shield always coming out is just exceedingly powerful. It does make a huge difference to your HP values. Melting point smoke again. Yeah, I think that's a little ambitious of the smoke. That's going to be melting points of his own for Steelsane. More melting points for Katano as well. Oh, and the electromagnetic barrage for the melting points. I like that quite a bit. Oh, is this melting point dancing a little too close to the sun? What's the range on these guys? 180 meters. So yeah, it should be able to go out and destroy both these shields. I don't think it will kill the shields fast enough for this drop, but always having that come out and deal shield damage is quite good. Big upgrades on the Mustang in the background for Steelsane as well. He's going to need those things hitting very hard, as right now they're one of the major points of damage. A little bit of delay here by Katano as well, just throwing one unit away to try and slow this down a bit, and honestly, it's not a bad idea whatsoever. Smoke comes out. Oh wow, the smoke is good, as that electromagnetic blast was enough to knock out the shield in time. I was honestly not expecting that. All of these units are pulled over to the right as well. Oh, this looks... Oh, it's really hard to tell. I was going to say this looks good for Steelsane, but on the left flank, there's 3 giants marching down the field basically unopposed. Melting Point's got a lot of work to do. The crawlers are doing a great job eating this guy up, and down goes the Melting Point of Katano. There's a couple of crawlers in the center line, but there's still 3 giants, and those melting points have range, but down goes the tower. Oh my god, it's so close. Level 2 Phoenix are able to take out one of the melting points. One Phoenix is getting targeted down, now a Vulcan. Is there enough melting points? There is not enough. Steelsane does lose the round, but well played by both players. That was incredibly close. This is most likely the last round. Katano picks up the deployment spec, I like that. Ion Blast for Steelsane, I like that more. At this point in the game, the Ion Blast might be more useful. On Giants though, it doesn't kill them. It will wound them, but it does not kill them. It does what, 2,400 damage a shot? Yeah, it's not going to be enough. It is not going to be enough, and great use of the flanking here by Katano might be enough to protect these units. I'm thinking that Steelsane needs to play out some flanking units of his own. It would be very powerful just to slow these things down and also cause the magnetic barrage to go the wrong way. Why is this? Oh, the Vulcan's doing a little shimmy away. Very good idea. Mass shielding by both players. The Ion Blast is enough to get through shields eventually. It's not going to crush through them immediately, but eventually it will. I think Katano might have this one from the initial onset, but I've been wrong before. Let me have a quick sip of tea. Well, I'm out of tea. Let me have a quick sip of beer. Dance of the Crawlers. Is there really... Yeah, I mean, these Stormcallers have kind of fallen off a little bit. Don't get me wrong, their damage is still enough to kill level 2 Mustang. Once those Mustang get to level 3, that's really when you need to upgrade your own Stormcallers, but right now they're doing enough. Oh, it's going to be very close. Ooh, we've been upgrading some chaff there. Alright, both players burn the Midnight Oil, used all their deployables. Let's see if it's enough. I think it is going to be enough, though. Melting points are killing each... The long-range melting points of Katano are easily able to kill the melting points of Steelsane, and I think not having range is really what's going to hurt him. As I mentioned before, range is key. If you're able to shoot first, you'll almost certainly win in the rounds of Mechabellum. Level 3 Phoenix, oh my god. If they were on the right targets, he may have been able to bring down one of the melting points, but not quite enough, and Steelsane is going to be deposed here. GG, well played, Katano. If only you had a PG-13, or at least not, like, not that avatar, I'll tell you what. Oh my god, I have so much editing to do on this one.